Hello everyone, welcome to the continuation lecture of the topic antiseptic and disinfectant. Yesterday we have studied about the antiseptic and disinfectant, especially the definition of antiseptic and disinfectants, their different types of antiseptic disinfectant, how they differ from each other according to their concentration, their importance in our daily life, along with their general use and some mechanism of action. So we are in a stage of a world where antiseptic are now a daily basis useful thing for our daily life. So we need to understand that, and we have to cope up the world according to this fact. And let's study the individual compound of this. And first of all, we will recap some of them. As in the last lecture we have discussed the antiseptic and disinfectant, we will discuss today the individual compound. So we have so simple by recap, we have studied the antiseptic definition, disinfectant definition, their example, how they differ. There are very minute border between antiseptic and disinfectant, their desired properties of antiseptic and disinfectant, along with their mechanism of activity, their general uses. Now, from this point, we will study that classification of antiseptic and disinfectant. I haven't classified according to antiseptic or according to disinfectant. I just classifies them according to the structure or according to the general formula in the individual structure. So widely they can be divided as first the phenol derivative. Phenol is an aromatic compound. It has the hydroxy group over benzene. It is called phenol. And under phenol derivative, phenol itself is very good disinfectant. Generally, it is used as disinfectant. You have used this in disinfectant, and many of formulation also contain this phenol. And the other derivative of phenol is xylenol, cresol, the diphenol derivative, that is in one hydroxy group in one position and one hydroxy group is third position to this primary hydroxy group is known as resorcinol. So this is also used as disinfectant in under the phenol category. Chloroxylenol, hexachlorophene. So these are some disinfectant. Now the alcohol are very much useful in these days because they are mainly used as antiseptic in a lower concentration. So uh, alcohol are much safer in terms of toxicity towards the surface tissues. You When you are using ethanol or isopropanol on your skin, there not much damage to your skin. So thus, from this view, 90% alcohol or 90% up to 90% isopropanol or 95% isopropanol, they are generally along with the soap solution. They are used in the uh, hand sanitizer preparation. And next classification is aldehydes. Under aldehyde, there are formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde. Formaldehyde contain one carbon, whether glutaraldehyde contain five carbon. That is, aldehyde comes from glutaric acid. You have learned about dicarboxylic acid under the IUPAC nomenclature. From this dicarboxylic, you must remember that Ohm's caps rules, where the G stands for glutaric acid of 5 carbon dicarboxylic acid. So this dicarboxylic acid is replaced by aldehyde group, then it comes the glutaraldehyde. Halogens also are used for disinfectant purpose, like chlorine are very much useful to purify the water. Iodine is used for normal disinfection, or sorry, in antiseptic purpose, because providone iodine solution, a normal iodine solution, you are using to wash the wounds after wound healing process. Continuing the classification, there are some oxidizing agent. They generally oxidize the microbial cell membrane or cellular structure, like KMnO4, potassium permanganate is a powerful oxidant. Hydrogen peroxide also is a powerful oxidant. So they works by simple oxidizing the cellular content of microorganism. Next classification is surfactant. Surfactant are also known as surface active agent because they reduce the surface tension between the various layers. So by reducing surface tension, they are making the cell structure miscible with the liquid, and as a result the cell structure of the microorganism get outburst. So soap solution, cetrimide solution, they are known as a surfactant or surface active agent, whether they reduce the surface tension of skin and these microbes and helps to remove the microbes from our skin. That's why we are using soap in a daily basis or a normal basis in a very frequent way to kill the or to invade the coronavirus or COVID-19. The quaternary ammonium compounds are there. Quaternary ammonium compounds means if there is ammonia, so derivative of ammonia is known as ammonium compound. When the nature of this ammonium compound is quaternary, quaternary means 4. Okay, so when there are 4 different substitution in nitrogen, that is quaternary ammonium compound. So such quaternary ammonium compound are benzalkonium chloride, benzethonium chloride, another derivative of benzethonium chloride, that is methyl benzethonium chloride. They are useful as quaternary ammonium compound. These quaternary ammonium compounds and phenyl nitrate compounds, they are very much useful as antimicrobial preservative in the um, ophthalmic preparation, where the requirement of this antimicrobial preservative is very minute concentration, like for say 0.001% or 0.002%. On this category they are useful. Next come some metallic salt, like metal silver salts like silver nitrate, and some zinc compounds are also useful as antiseptic and disinfectant. Now from this huge category there are some compound listed in your syllabus. Now we are going to study one by one, and you have to understand how we will study, because there are some specification in your syllabus how you will study or how you will prepare the syllabus from your point of view. For every and each compound, you have to first you have to know the structure if there is possible. There are some structure is only available from the syllabus. You don't need to practice or don't need to remember all the structure of compounds listed in your syllabus. There are some specific structure or specific compound which are marked as asterisks. So only the structure of these compounds you have to remember or practice or learn. Now next we have to study the brand name of this compound. After structure you have already have to study the IUPAC nomenclature, because if we have study the structure, then you should know the name of this structure. So this you have to study the IUPAC nomenclature of this structure, whether aliphatic or maybe it may be aromatic or maybe it may be heterocyclic compound. So as we have learned in the IUPAC nomenclature, we'll name them. After that, we have to learn about the brand name of this compound, whether in which brand they are marketed, their preparation, like formulation, maybe tablet, maybe capsule, maybe solution, maybe topical agents, maybe ophthalmic agents, or anything can be possible, maybe aerosol. So we will study about them. Now next we'll detail in a form, we'll study the uses of this compound, in which disease condition or in which physiological condition they are going to be useful for us. We'll study them. And then the properties like their physical appearances, their solubility, there's melting point, boiling point, if possible. Then their normal stability in normal temperature or elevated environmental condition. or along with that their normal storage condition. So this will be studied under each and every compound from your syllabus. So first compound you have in your syllabus, that is proflavin. Proflavin is a amino compound. As you are seeing the structure, it has 3 benzene ring and it has the nitrogen in middle of the benzene ring. Such kind of ring is known as acridine. Such kind of ring is known as acridine. So for this acridine, we'll do the nomenclature as there are two substitution in 3 and 6, and that is two amine group, so that is acridine 3,6 diamine. Under the brand names, they are generally used for topical purpose. You have to understand that generally antiseptic and disinfectants, they are surface active agents, or they are used in a skin surface or a surface of either living skin or living tissue or non-living tissue. So they must be formulated for as a topical agents. So we have studied about the topical agents in pharmaceutical chemistry 1. So the most of the compounds under this category, that is antiseptic and disinfectant, they are formulated as topical agent like cream, ointment, solution, sometimes maybe as spray, etc. So proflavin comes under the brand name of acrylein triple dieuchroma, and the dosage form available for proflavin is cream, solution, and ointment. So for uses purpose, they are useful as topical antiseptic as well as urinary antiseptic. So they can be used for antisepsis or under the sepsis condition over the skin and in the urinary tract. Thus, for urinary tract also, they are useful as topical. You don't have to take it orally to act as urinary antiseptic. So they are generally applied through the urinary tract from the outside. The properties of this proflavin is they are generally yellow color solid. Mass is 209 gram per mole. Melting point is having 285 degree centigrade. Solubility, as they are amine compound, they easily form the hydrogen bond through the nitrogen. So they are soluble in water, as water is a polar solvent. So they are the water soluble component generally soluble in ethanol. And you have to know that the compound which are water soluble, they are polar, and they are generally insoluble in organic solvent or non-polar solvent like benzene, ether, carbon tetrachloride. These are organic solvent, and these, when the compound soluble in these solvent like this organic solvent of benzene, ether, or carbon tetrachloride, they generally insoluble in water. And when the component is water soluble, they are generally insoluble in this organic solvent. We'll see this one by one. The stability, that it generally decompose under heat, because due to the presence of nitrogen, when there is nitrogen in structure, it must get decomposed in heat, and with the reaction of oxygen, they generally produces the nitric oxide or nitrogen dioxide. So they are oxides of nitrogen. So generally these form as fumes in brown color or in other color, and they are toxic for our respiratory system. So they must be toxic for our respiratory system. So any structure or any compound having nitrogen, they are generally oxidized in presence of oxygen under the high temperature, and they release the toxic oxides of nitrogen. Okay, so as they are thermolabile, and they are prone to oxidized in presence of oxygen. So the storage condition will be, we have to keep it in light, resistant, and closed container for safety purpose. So thank you for today's class. Thank you for today's attention. And in next class, we'll study the other component of this structure of this antiseptic and disinfectant, and we will discuss their uses also, their properties also, and maybe some useful portion from this. Thank you.